This is the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. We're talking all things coaching, concepts, tips, tools, self-coaching, mindset, faith foundations, and definitely entrepreneurship, because I want to support your calling as a coach and help you build a thriving online business with God as your CEO. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Here we go. Well, I think this is going to be the last episode in our identity and purpose series right now. So what I wanted to wrap it up with was a little bit of an overview of what an identity and purpose coach would do. What kind of the results? What would you look for? What would you hope to get out of a coaching relationship with somebody? Or maybe you are a coach and you're interested in identity and purpose work. And I just want to give you an overview of it. This is not a complete list of everything a coach would offer you or the benefits you'd gain from identity and purpose coaching, but a little bit of an understanding about how that fits into a niche inside of a coaching practice, okay? So first of all, I would say identity and purpose coaches definitely help you learn how to be more present and more focused with yourself, as opposed to living in yesterday or tomorrow. Let's talk about who are you today, be present with yourself, really identify, your paradigm, your beliefs, your thoughts, your imaginations. Like, what are you living from? And then also identity is separate from behavior. So understanding that is really important. And I think that's a valuable area of coaching, that helping people understand that their identity is not the same as their behavior. And so living from the fact that what you've done, who you've been, those things do not point to who you are, okay? And identifying systems of self-protection, like your coping strategies, your defense mechanisms, but looking at it with self-compassion, not shame, not condemnation, not judgment. And then, from a Christian standpoint, an identity and purpose coach would help you lean into God for your foundation of the identity and purpose that you're discovering, and really figure out how to believe what God says about you. Like, that means you have to identify the lies you're believing about yourself, the lies you believe about God, the lies you believe about what's possible, all of these things. Identifying lies and figuring out what is the actual truth I need to line myself up with, renewing your mind. I believe that is a major part of identity and purpose coaching, because you want to agree with the truth about your identity and your purpose, right? So renewing your mind, really putting on the helmet of truth and the mind of Christ, understanding how to lock into that and live from a place where you're agreeing with truth is important. Operating in things like forgiveness, mercy, grace, thankfulness, those things are really core to identity and purpose work, I believe. Discovering where, in areas of your life where you're living more like a slave rather than a son or a daughter, as opposed, like a slave mentality, an orphan mentality, as opposed to I'm adopted, I'm a co-heir with Christ. I would say discovering what you believe about your identity and your purpose, how it impacts what you believe about those things, how it impacts your relationships, your marriages, your parenting, your career, your health. I mean, everything in your life is impacted by what you believe about your identity and your purpose. And finding freedom. Come on. Yes, I'll take some freedom. I'll take some healing, please. Freedom and healing that cleanses and restores your soul and nourishes your spirit. Let's bring it on. We'll take some of that. Yes, in Jesus' name. And recognizing what I call the should do, must do, choose to. So the things that you feel that you should do, and the things you've committed to that you must do, and then the things that you long for that you choose to do. I believe that that's part of identity and purpose work, because it really speaks to and feeds the reasoning, the motivations, the narratives, the storylines you're telling in your mind about things that you are doing and how they impact like who you think you are. And I would say, doing the work of uncovering, like you're going to have to reach into the dirt and get your fingernails dirty and actually uncover the roots of joy and peace, the satisfaction and fulfillment that you really long to live from, that you want to be the root system to like all of the results you get in your life, right? Also, identity and purpose coaches should be able to help you move through losses and transitions, seasons where there's crisis that affect what you believe about your identity and purpose. And I also really believe in the strong, I have strong belief in discovering your personality, your calling, and understanding your motivations, perspectives, and behaviors better. And I have a couple of different tools I use for that, namely the Enneagram and the way I teach it from the original design perspective. I love to see how those things impact and affect my daily life, the relationships I have, the things that I do, and how I see the world, because that all impacts how I show up in my identity as a daughter of God and in my purpose as a believer and all of my ultimate, calling on this earth. That is, having self-awareness and language for all of these internal and external characteristics and values of my identity and my purpose, I think are really, really important. When you have no language, then you don't know what you don't know, right? So I just wanted to share a little bit about this niche of life coaching within identity and purpose, in case you're interested in maybe finding somebody who can work with you in this area, or in the case that you're a coach or you want to be a coach and dive into this niche in your own calling to have a coaching practice, build a business, and so forth. I wanted to give you a little rundown because we've talked about in this series your identity as a believer and a son and daughter, as a unique son and daughter, your individualism as God's child. And then we've also talked about purposes, your primary purpose to know God and make him known, your secondary purpose as like who you are as a man or a woman and what you do in this world. And then your seasonal purposes, being a parent, being a boss, being a teacher, like whatever it is that's in the season that you are in, all of the different seasonal purposes. And then we've talked about some tools and some resources, some books, questions to ask, ways to dig into all of this. But I wanted to wrap it up with actual coaching. What would a coaching relationship and what are the results that would entail if you went after identity and purpose coaching? So I pray that this series has been a blessing to you, and not just to you personally, but that it will impact all of those lives that you touch, the spheres of influence you're in. And yeah, well, we'll see you in the next episode. Who knows what God will do? I hope that you loved this episode and you feel challenged, inspired, and encouraged. If you're a coach or you want to be one, jump into the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group so we can connect over there. And to work with me, grab the links in the show notes to get quick clarity about your calling as a coach and entrepreneur, as well as how to get trained as a coach with Starling & Stone and start your own business. Bless you, friend.